Welcome, my friend. What if I told you that you're about to unlock one of the most powerful tools for success that has ever been written? Not a gadget, not a trend, not a fleeting technique, but a timeless masterpiece that has helped millions of people, from presidents to entrepreneurs, from everyday workers to world leaders, completely transform their relationships, their careers, and their lives. You are about to experience Dale Carnegie's legendary book, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Now, let me be real with you. If you've ever felt like socializing doesn't come easy, if you've ever wanted to get better at conversations, if you've ever wanted people to listen when you speak, trust you, follow you, or simply like you a little more, this book is your secret weapon. Maybe you've read self-help books before. Maybe you've tried those 10 tips to be more likable or 5 ways to be more persuasive. But let me assure you, none of them go as deep or last as long as this. This isn't just a book, it's a guidebook to human nature. Dale Carnegie wrote this book over 84 years ago, in 1936 to be exact, and yet it is still one of the highest-selling books in the world. Why? Because the truth is, technology changes, trends come and go, society evolves, but human beings, we're still wired the same. We still crave appreciation. We still want to be understood. We still desire respect, attention, and connection. And this book teaches you exactly how to give that to others, and by doing so, earn their trust, loyalty, and influence in return. It's not manipulation. It's not trickery. It's mastery. Mastery of people skills, mastery of empathy, mastery of leadership, and most importantly, mastery of yourself. You see, when Dale Carnegie first started teaching public speaking and communication in New York City, he noticed something fascinating. His students didn't just want to speak better. They wanted to be heard. They wanted to connect. They wanted to inspire. They wanted to lead. And that's when he realized that speaking is only one piece of the puzzle. To truly succeed in business, in personal life, in love, in leadership, you need to understand how people work. You need to know what makes them tick, what makes them trust, what makes them open up, and what makes them follow you. So he poured all his discoveries, all his research, all his experiences, and all his timeless wisdom into this book. And since then, How to Win Friends and Influence People has become the Bible of communication, connection, and leadership. Presidents have read it. CEOs swear by it. Millions of ordinary people, just like you and me, have changed their entire lives because of it. And here's the best part. You don't need to be born charismatic. You don't need to be naturally outgoing. You don't need to fake anything. This book doesn't teach you how to be someone else. It teaches you how to bring out the best version of yourself, because influence isn't about overpowering others. It's about understanding others. It's about seeing people for who they are and helping them become who they could be. In this audiobook, we're going to walk through every single chapter of this masterpiece. And I don't mean a light overview. I mean everything. Every rule, every principle, every powerful story, every real-life example, whether you're a student trying to make new friends, a manager trying to lead your team, an entrepreneur trying to win clients, or someone who just wants to connect better with people around you. This book is going to equip you with skills for life. You're going to learn the 6 ways to make people like you instantly, the 12 ways to win people to your way of thinking without arguments or pressure, the 9 ways to be a true leader, someone who inspires change, not demands it, and how to handle criticism, give praise, and build unbreakable relationships. And I promise you this, if you commit to listening with an open heart and mind, by the end of this audiobook, you'll not only know these principles, you'll live them, because knowledge is power, but only when it's put into action. And Carnegie doesn't just tell you what to do, he shows you how to do it, why it works, and how to make it feel natural. Now let's address the elephant in the room. But wasn't this book written in the 1930s? Isn't it outdated? Fair question. But here's the truth. Human nature doesn't expire. Sure, we have smartphones and social media now, but people still crave the same things. They want to feel important. They want to be appreciated. They want to be understood. And they want to feel valued. And if you know how to give them that, genuinely, you will win their hearts. You will influence their thoughts. And you will become a powerful presence in any room you walk into. This is not about being fake. This is not about using people. It's about becoming the kind of person others naturally want to be around. Because when you lift others, you rise with them. That's the secret Carnegie discovered, and that's what this book will teach you. So take a deep breath, friend. Get ready to dive into one of the most important self-development journeys of your life. Not just a lesson in communication, but a complete transformation of how you interact with the world. Whether you're listening in your car, on a walk, at the gym, or at home, open your heart, listen actively, reflect deeply, and most importantly, practice what you learn. Because the power to win friends and influence people isn't something you're born with. It's something you build, and this audiobook is your blueprint. Let's begin this incredible journey together. You're about to become the kind of person who doesn't just make connections, you create impact. Welcome to How to Win Friends and Influence People, the timeless guide to transforming your relationships, your career, and your life. Part 1. Fundamental Techniques in Handling People. Chapter 1. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Let's start with a truth that most people never realize. No matter how wrong someone may be, they rarely, if ever, criticize themselves. Why? Because people are not creatures of logic, they're creatures of emotion. They're driven by ego, pride, and the deep desire to feel important. When you criticize someone, even if you think they deserve it, you're not encouraging change. You're putting them on the defensive. You're challenging their self-worth. And in response, they'll often rationalize, deny, or push back. That's human nature. Even in extreme situations like when a criminal is convicted, family members often blame the system instead of the individual. That's because criticism doesn't correct. It wounds. It injures a person's pride, their dignity, their very sense of identity, and those emotional injuries, they can last a lifetime. Take the story of the legendary test pilot Bob Hoover. After performing at an air show in San Diego, both engines on his W-2 aeroplane cut out mid-flight. Through incredible skill, Hoover managed to land the aircraft and save everyone on board. But the plane? Severely damaged? The culprit? Jet fuel had been accidentally pumped into the propeller aircraft. Back on the ground, Hoover met the young mechanic who had made the mistake. The man was in tears, expecting rage, expecting to be fired on the spot. But Hoover didn't yell. He didn't blame. In fact, he did something remarkable. He told the mechanic that he still trusted him and wanted him to service the plane again the next day. Why? Because Hoover understood what psychologist B.F. Skinner had discovered years earlier. Behavior changes not through punishment, but through encouragement. Just like animals learn faster when rewarded for good behavior, so do people. Criticism might feel satisfying in the moment, but it rarely leads to growth. Anyone can complain. Anyone can tear someone down. But it takes real strength, real character to understand, to forgive, and to uplift. If you want to be someone who influences others, if you want to lead, not just manage, then remember this golden rule. Don't criticize, condemn, or complain. Be better than that. Chapter 2. Give honest and sincere appreciation. Here's a fundamental truth about human beings. We all crave appreciation. We want to feel seen. We want to feel valued. And the desire to feel important is one of the strongest forces driving human behavior. It's not about vanity. It's about emotional survival. That hunger for recognition is what pushes people to write books, start businesses, climb mountains, and lead revolutions. When someone says, "Great job," or "You really made a difference," it lights something up inside of us. And that spark? It drives us forward. But here's the catch. Phony flattery doesn't work. People can spot insincerity a mile away, so don't fake it. Don't throw out generic praise just to check a box. Give people honest and sincere appreciation. That means putting your own needs aside for a moment and truly seeing the person in front of you. Notice what they're doing right, recognize their effort, praise their strengths, specifically, genuinely, and openly. You don't need grand gestures. Sometimes a simple "thank you" or "I really appreciate you" can shift someone's entire day. Think of the tired server at a restaurant, the overworked cashier, the employee who's been grinding without acknowledgement. A moment of appreciation from you can uplift them, and it can change how they see you too. Dale Carnegie often quoted Ralph Waldo Emerson, who believed that every person he met was superior to him in some way. That mindset, it's powerful. It means you're always learning, you're always discovering, you're always seeing value in others, and that makes you magnetic. Want to be remembered, want to be respected, want to be liked, leave sparks of appreciation wherever you go, feed that human hunger for recognition, and you'll not only build strong relationships, you'll make a difference in people's lives. Chapter 3. Arouse in the other person an eager want. Let's face it, we all have things we want. Success, recognition, love, security, the list goes on. But here's the deal. No one else cares what you want. Not really. People are focused on their wants. That's not selfish. It's just how we're wired. So if you want to influence someone, don't start with your needs. Start with theirs. Think of it like fishing. Maybe you love cheesecake, but when you go fishing, you don't put a slice of cheesecake on the hook. You use a worm because that's what the fish wants. The same logic applies to people. If you want someone to listen, engage, or act, you have to show them what's in it for them, not in a manipulative way, but in a relatable, empathetic, and genuine way. Before you open your mouth, pause. Ask yourself, what does this person want? What do they care about? What are they trying to achieve? And then tailor your words, your actions, and your attitude around that. If you can align their desires with your message, you've got influence. If you can make their goals your focus, you'll earn their attention and trust. Andrew Carnegie, the steel magnate and one of the richest men in American history, once tested this very principle with his nephews. They never replied to his letters, so instead of nagging them to write back, he ended one letter by mentioning that he enclosed a $5 bill, but deliberately left it out. Sure enough, each nephew wrote back, thanking him and casually asking where the money was. Why? Because the letter now included something they wanted. This isn't about manipulation. It's about empathy. When you shift your focus away from "what do I want" to "how can I help this person get what they want," you instantly separate yourself from the crowd. Because the truth is, the world is full of self-centered people, and those who genuinely care about others have a massive advantage. So whether you're trying to land a job, close a deal, build a friendship, or lead a team, remember this principle. Speak to people's interests, not your own. Focus on their desires, show them how to get what they want, and in the process, you'll get what you want too. Part 2, 6. Ways to make people like you. Chapter 1. Become genuinely interested in other people. You ever wonder why dogs are so universally loved? It's simple. They show genuine excitement when they see you. To them, you're the most important person in the world. That kind of energy is magnetic. The truth is, people are drawn to those who show real interest in them, not fake, polite small talk, but actual curiosity about who they are and what they care about. Here's the thing. Most people aren't thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves, just like you do. In fact, think about the last group photo you were in. Whose face did you look for first? If you want to build meaningful connections, stop trying to impress others and start being impressed by others. Ask them about their goals, their story, their challenges. Remember their problems, and when you come across a solution, share it with them. Show appreciation for people at all levels, not just your bosses, but employees, cashiers, janitors, everyone. For people above you, ask about their journey. Let them shine. When people feel seen, they remember how you made them feel, and that's how friendships are built. Chapter 2. Smile. A simple smile says so much. It says, "I like you, I'm happy to see you, you matter." Smiling is one of the most powerful nonverbal tools you've got, and it costs nothing. Take the example of William B. Steinhardt, a once grumpy New York stockbroker who decided to change things up. He made a personal commitment to start each day with a smile at his wife, the doorman, the subway cashier, even his co-workers. And guess what? The world smiled back. His home life brightened. His work environment improved. His income went up. All from a shift in energy and attitude. That's the magic of a smile. When someone greets you with one, it's hard not to like them. Babies do it instinctively, and dogs. They've made an art of it. Show people you're glad to see them. Smile like you mean it. It just might change your day and theirs. Chapter 3. Remember that a person's name is to that person the sweetest and most important sound in any language. There's power in a name. It's more than just a word. It's a symbol of identity, of recognition. Using someone's name tells them, I see you, you matter. For a long time I made the mistake of forgetting people's names seconds after hearing them. I'd excuse myself later with, I'm terrible with names, could you remind me? But I realized this sent the wrong message. If you care about someone, you remember their name. It's that simple. Now when I meet someone new, I focus during those first few seconds. I repeat their name aloud. Nice to meet you, Sarah. I'll say it again during the conversation, and when I'm alone, I'll connect the name to something familiar to help me remember. Using someone's name builds a bridge of connection. Forgetting it, that builds a wall. Think of all the buildings, parks, and foundations named after people. Why? Because they wanted their name to live on. So the next time you greet someone, do it like this. Hi, Chris, how's your day going? You'll be amazed at how that small gesture makes a big difference. Chapter 4. Be a good listener. Encourage others to talk about themselves. Everyone has a story they're dying to share, their struggles, their victories, their journey. When you give someone the space to talk, you give them the gift of being heard, and that gift is priceless. People care more about their own headache than a natural disaster on the other side of the world. That's just human nature. And when you allow someone to speak openly without rushing to respond or interrupt, you instantly become someone they value. Once, the author attended a dinner party and met a botanist. Not knowing anything about plants, he simply listened, and the botanist was thrilled. Later, he told the host, "What a brilliant conversationalist your guest was." But the author had hardly said a word. He just listened, and that was enough. Before I read this principle, I used to wait for people to stop talking, just so I could say what I wanted to say. I'd mentally rehearse my response, instead of truly hearing what they were sharing. Now, I try to listen, not just hear. And when you do that, you stand out in a world full of noise. Chapter 5. Talk in terms of the other person's interests. Remember the fishing analogy. If you love cheesecake, you don't use it as bait. Fish want worms. Likewise, when talking to others, don't lead with what you care about. Lead with what they care about. Before meeting someone, do your homework. What are their interests, their goals, their passions? Once you understand those things, you'll know exactly how to connect. Show people how your ideas, products, or actions benefit them. Speak their language. When you make it about them, they'll start paying attention. Chapter 6. Make the other person feel important, and do it sincerely. This is the golden rule in action. Everyone you meet, everyone wants to feel important. In fact, most people feel superior to you in some way, whether they say it or not. And that's okay. Let them. Show them, in subtle ways, that you recognize their strengths. Give praise freely, but mean it. Not because you want something in return, but because you want to make someone's day better. Don't diminish others to lift yourself up. Do the opposite. Lift others and you'll rise with them. This principle ties together everything we've covered: appreciation, interest, attention, kindness. It's all about seeing the value in others and letting them feel it. Make it your mission to leave people better than you found them. That's how you build influence, and more importantly, how you build trust and friendship that lasts. Part 3. 12. Ways to win people to your way of thinking, audiobook format, vertical bar. Tone, motivational vertical bar. For American audience, praise is nice, but what do you do when someone disagrees with you? That's what we're about to explore in this section of how to win friends and influence people. It's easy to react defensively, to fight fire with fire, but that rarely works. People don't like being proven wrong. They don't want to admit they need to change their mind. Even if you're right, challenging their beliefs can feel like an attack on their pride. Sure, you may want to be seen as the smartest person in the room, but doing that often makes people resent you instead of respect you. Chapter 1. The only way to win an argument is to avoid it. When you argue with someone, there's no real winner. If you lose, you lose. And if you win, the other person may resent you for bruising their ego. In most cases, arguments only make people dig deeper into their existing opinions. The key is to sidestep arguments altogether. When a disagreement starts to surface, hold back your first instinct. It's usually defensive. Don't lose your temper. Instead, listen calmly and openly. Find common ground early in the conversation. That helps lower the other person's defensiveness and sets a cooperative tone. Chapter 2. Begin in a friendly way. Hostility invites more hostility. People can't be forced to agree with you, but they can be gently guided. Think of it this way. If you're trying to catch an animal, do you run after it yelling? Or do you offer it food and let it come to you? A drop of honey catches more flies than a gallon of gall. Take the example of a man whose landlord raised his rent. Instead of complaining, he expressed how much he appreciated the home and the way the building was managed. Then, he mentioned he'd love to stay, but just couldn't afford the increase. The result? A far better outcome than arguing would have produced. Chapter 3. Show respect for the other person's opinions. Never say you're wrong. People cling to their beliefs, even if they formed them carelessly. Once someone feels attacked, they'll defend their point endlessly, often losing sight of the actual topic. Carnegie shared a story where he had expensive curtains made. When a friend said he overpaid, he instantly defended his purchase. But when another friend complimented the curtains, he admitted he may have spent too much. Why? Because he wasn't being attacked. He was free to reflect without ego. When you tell someone they're wrong, it's like saying, "I'm smarter than you." That's a direct hit to their self-esteem and will likely trigger resistance instead of reflection. Chapter 4. If you're wrong, admit it quickly and emphatically. Once, Carnegie was walking his dog Rex without a leash or muzzle, which was against the law. A police officer warned him, but later the same officer caught him again. This time, before the officer could say anything, Carnegie apologized sincerely and took full responsibility. To his surprise, the officer let him go again, without a fine. Why? Because admitting fault removes the critic's power. When you admit your mistake with sincerity and energy, the other person often feels compelled to show mercy instead of scolding. They feel important not by punishing you, but by forgiving you. It's a powerful reversal, and it works. Chapter 5. Let the other person do a great deal of the talking. If someone disagrees with you, don't try to win by talking over them. Let them speak. People need to feel heard. Ever watched an argument where no one listens? It becomes a shouting match with zero resolution. Imagine every person has a bottle inside them that fills up when they talk. Only when it's full are they ready to truly listen. Interrupting empties that bottle. Let them talk until they're done. Then, and only then, can you share your view, and they'll be more likely to hear it. Chapter 6. Try honestly to see things from the other person's point of view. Imagine you were born into someone else's body, had their experiences, and saw life through their eyes. You'd likely think just like them. Try to genuinely understand how they feel. That shift in perspective is powerful. Let's say you're going into a job interview. You're nervous, but so is the interviewer. They're tired of meeting unfit candidates. They're hoping you will be the right one. Instead of thinking, "How can I impress them?" ask, How can I solve their problem? If you focus on what they need, you'll likely get what you want in return. Chapter 7. Be sympathetic to the other person's ideas and desires. When someone is upset, they feel justified in their emotions. Even if their reasoning is off, their feelings are real to them. Think about it. When you're angry, do you ever think, I know this makes no sense, but I'll be mad anyway? Of course not. People crave sympathy. They want someone to acknowledge their struggle. When you show genuine empathy, they become far more open to your perspective. It's not manipulation, it's humanity. Chapter 8. Start with questions the other person will answer yes. Starting with disagreement puts people on the defensive, but when you begin with points of agreement, you create a yes momentum. Each yes makes the person more receptive to the next idea. Let's say I want to sell you book summaries. I might ask, you enjoy reading, right? You'd probably say yes. Then I might ask, do you like saving time and money? Another yes. Now I offer my product, something that helps you read faster and cheaper. But if I sound too slick or like I'm trapping you, it backfires. So be sincere. Use this method to build agreement, not manipulate. Chapter 9. Let the other person feel the idea is theirs. People love their own ideas more than they love yours, even if it's the exact same idea. Give them credit. If they feel they came up with the solution, they'll be more committed to it. Once, I was in a tough negotiation. The other person wouldn't budge. So I said, you're the expert here. I want your advice. How do you think we should solve this? That flipped the dynamic. He stopped being a blocker and became a mentor. I picked one of his solutions, and because it was his idea, he was fully on board with making it work. Chapter 10. Appeal to the nobler motive. People usually have two reasons for their actions. The one that sounds good and the real one. Forget the real one. Speak to the noble motive. If someone breaks an agreement, tell them you believed in their integrity. Say, I thought you were the kind of person who keeps their word. That appeal hits differently. No one wants to feel like a hypocrite. Give them the chance to live up to the better version of themselves. Often, they will. Chapter 11. Dramatize your ideas. In today's noisy world, just stating facts isn't enough. Make your message vivid. Use drama, visuals, and metaphors. One salesman noticed a store losing sales because of slow checkouts. Instead of lecturing the owner, he threw pennies on the floor. You're losing this with every customer, he said. It made an impact. Steve Jobs didn't say, this iPod has 5 GB of storage. He said, 1,000 songs in your pocket. Make your message hit home. Once during my internship, I opened my final presentation by saying I saved the company $133,000. Suddenly, every manager paid attention, even though I did the same work as everyone else. I just framed it differently. Chapter 12. Throw down a challenge. Sometimes the best way to motivate is through competition. People want to rise to the occasion, to prove themselves. If you sense hesitation, plant a challenge. Say, most people wouldn't take this on. It's a big job. That sparks the desire to prove they can. We're wired to chase mastery. We want to rise above the rest. Use that drive. Channel it. Winning people over isn't about being clever or manipulative. It's about being human, humble, and emotionally intelligent. If you truly want to influence others, learn to listen more than you speak, understand more than you judge, and guide more than you push. That's how real connection and real influence is built. Part 4. Changing people. Without giving offense or arousing resentment. Chapter 1. Begin with praise and honest appreciation. It's always easier to hear uncomfortable truths when they're preceded by sincere praise. Without genuine appreciation, criticism can feel harsh and demoralizing. Sadly, in many corporate settings, praise is given in a formal, mechanical way. You did a great job, but... That but ruins the praise, leaving the person feeling deflated. Instead, be real, be specific. A sincere, detailed compliment on a particular achievement opens the heart and makes feedback easier to accept. This approach becomes even more powerful when the person already knows you're unhappy about something. If you can still find something to sincerely praise, it surprises them, and it also opens the door to honest, constructive communication. Chapter 2. Call attention to mistakes. Indirectly, direct criticism often triggers defensiveness. Most people already know when they've messed up. Calling it out too bluntly just builds resistance. A better tactic is to follow praise with an and, not a but. For example, instead of saying, "You've been working hard, but you made some careless mistakes," say, "You've been working hard, and if you focus on building a checklist, you'll boost your accuracy." See the difference? The second version doesn't feel like failure, it feels like a natural step forward. Another powerful method is to model the correct behavior yourself. John Wanamaker, for instance, once saw a customer waiting unattended at the counter while sales staff chatted away. He quietly stepped in, helped the customer himself, and then handed the package to the salespeople to wrap, sending a powerful message without a single word of criticism. Chapter 3. Talk about your own mistakes. First, admitting your own mistakes before pointing out someone else's creates humility and connection. It shows that you understand how easy it is to slip up. It makes the other person feel safe, not judged. For example, I used to interview college students for internships. Many of them froze up and couldn't express themselves because of nerves. I understood that feeling, because I'd lived it. In fact, during my own interview years earlier, I blanked when asked to name a popular social media platform. I used Facebook daily, but I couldn't remember the name under pressure. The interviewer had to say it for me. Sharing that embarrassing moment helped me connect with the students. It made them laugh. It made them relax. And most importantly, it showed them that mistakes are human. Chapter 4. Ask questions. Instead of giving orders, asking questions gives people the freedom to find their own solutions. It shows respect. It invites ownership. Rather than saying, "Do this," try asking, "What do you think would work here?" Or, "Can we come up with a better way to handle this?" Questions encourage creativity, give people a sense of importance and build trust. Plus, ideas that come from within tend to be more powerful and long-lasting than those imposed from above. Chapter 5. Let the person save face. No one wants to feel small. Stripping someone of their dignity creates resentment that can last a long time. When people make mistakes, allow them to recover with pride. If someone drops the ball, but steps up to fix it, acknowledge that effort. One example: when an employee made an error and promised to correct it before the next meeting, the manager didn't scold her. Instead, he thanked her, reassured her that these things happen, and praised her dedication. That simple act preserved her self-respect and built loyalty. Chapter 6. Praise every slight improvement. Small wins deserve recognition. Praising even minor progress motivates people to keep growing. Why? Because we all crave appreciation. It's as essential as food. But the key is being specific. Don't just say, "Great job." Say, "Your last report was exceptionally well organized and clear, especially the section on customer feedback." I've seen this principle work firsthand. In one of my jobs, colleagues warned me about an employee in India who was labeled lazy and unresponsive. Instead of criticizing him, I chose to highlight small wins, like a timely reply or a well-done section of work. I even copied his manager on my praise. Within weeks, he transformed into a proactive, engaged team member. Praise changed everything. Chapter 7. Give the person a fine reputation to live up to. If you want someone to become better, start by believing in the best version of them. People often rise to meet the expectations placed on them. For instance, if your friend says you're someone who always keeps secrets, you'll likely work hard to protect that image. You'll be cautious with your words and proud of your trustworthiness, because now that reputation is part of who you are. When we tell people who they can be, they often become it. Chapter 8. Make the fault seem easy to correct. Telling someone they're bad at something can crush their motivation. Instead, frame the issue in a positive way. Let them know they have what it takes, they just need a little practice. A dance instructor, for example, might say, "You've got great rhythm, you're a natural-born dancer, now let's sharpen that footwork." That kind of encouragement keeps hope alive and sparks effort. Chapter 9. Make the person happy about doing what you suggest. This principle is about aligning interests. When people feel that your goals and theirs are connected, they're more likely to cooperate. But here's the trick: be transparent. If you have a reason for your request, say so. Then explain how both of you benefit. Don't just pretend it's all about them. People sense insincerity. For example, if you need someone to take on a challenging task, say, "I'd appreciate your help on this because your skills are perfect for the job." And honestly, it'll also make the project a lot smoother for both of us. Be honest, be fair, and people will appreciate your authenticity. And that's it for this audiobook. These timeless principles from Dale Carnegie aren't just about changing others, they're about changing how we connect, how we lead, and how we bring out the best in people. Practice them with sincerity, and you'll see just how powerful your influence can be. Have a fantastic day, and go make a difference.